Have you ever been at the fair and you pay 10 cents for the grab bag and you poke your hand in and you pull something out? That's what you're getting. It's also called a pig and a poke. You don't know what you're getting out of that bag, and you might just get a pig, which is something you may not want. So they're getting the change of venue. But who will the judge be? Straight out to Chris McDonough. He's been in front of plenty of judges. He's now the star of The Interview Room on YouTube, and you can find him at coldcasefoundation.org. And he's got all these accolades for a reason. Former homicide investigator, and handled around 300 homicide scenes. Chris McDonough, the judge, can make all the difference. I've had a butt chewing by so many judges held in contempt. You name it. You don't want that judge.
Yeah, you definitely don't want that judge for sure, Nancy. And, the family doesn't want that judge either. And in this situation, what I think one of the things we have to take a look at is the frustration that the family has because the judge now has recused himself and said, hey, you know what, because of these other reasons, I'm going to pull out of this as well and give you somebody else. Well, that's a big win for the defense, in my opinion. I've been in that circumstance where, you think everything's going well, and next thing you know it, you are in front of this new guy. And what was interesting, his ruling on page 16 of his ruling, he said a reasonable likelihood that the prejudicial news coverage will compromise a fair trial. And that's why he's granting.
Put him up. I want to see him. Hey, did you notice before I
yeah.
lose this thought?
Yeah.
The judge referred to international news coverage. Now, I don't know how moving to Ada County is going to escape international news coverage, but fine. I'd be mad if you didn't. Go ahead.
Yeah, and then he brings in the logistics arguments, right? Well, I have to think, how long has he been thinking about this? That there aren't enough deputies, there aren't enough clerks, the jurors could be tainted. Has it been over a year? And if so, why didn't he pull the trigger earlier? That's one of the things that I have to question, this judge about this ruling for that reason alone.
If the judge grants a change of venue, will Bryan Kohberger face a more conservative jury? How would travel to a new location affect proceedings?
Well, there have been a lot of high-profile venue changes. Let me give you a few I came up with last night. Well, Simpson, of course, got moved, and that resulted in a not guilty. The Rodney King case moved. Timothy McVeigh didn't make a difference. Oh, gosh, I was just looking at colleges with the twins in D.C., and I was telling them about the Beltway snipers. Remember them? The sharpshooters, Lee Boyd Malvo and John Allen Muhammad, and how I would fly to D.C. to do the Larry King show 2 or 3 times a week, and people would be afraid to even leave the parking lot, leave the airport to go to their cars. Everyone was in so much fear of the snipers, the D.C. snipers. Then, of course, there's Scott Peterson. Don't want to leave him out of any murder discussion. His venue was changed to Redwood City. Lacey was killed, we believe, in Modesto. Oh, there he is. There he is. Great shot. And it got moved to Redwood City. I know it very well because I lived there for about 4 months during the trial. Then there's Fred Tokars. May he rot in hell. He murdered his wife, and his 2 children were in the back seat. One of them said Mommy's head blew up like a pumpkin. His case was actually moved from Atlanta to Birmingham, a different state, because it was a federal case. That's not true here. It's going to be moved somewhere in Idaho. Then you've got John Wayne Gacy. Now, that had a different twist. Gacy's trial was not moved, but the jury was moved. They brought in jurors from another jurisdiction.